There are truths whispered through generations, truths carried in the bones of women and spoken in the quiet corners of their hearts. There are truths that rise like dawn after the darkest night, truths that shape the way love grows, breathes, and transforms the spirit. And one of those truths is that when kindness enters a woman's life with steady hands and gentle intention, something deep within her begins to bloom. She does not unfold all at once. She opens petal by petal, cautious yet hopeful, trembling yet brave. She does not give herself because she must, but because her soul recognizes a place where it is finally safe to rest. For a woman does not surrender her heart to the one who simply wants her presence. She gives herself to the one who honors her being. She pours her devotion toward the one who sees her not as a duty, not as a decoration, not as an obligation, but as a human soul deserving tenderness. She loves deeply not because she is weak, but because she is strong enough to carry love the way oceans carry the moon. Pulling it close, letting it go, pulling it close again, she has a rhythm that only the patient can understand. When she encounters respect, real respect, not the kind spoken only in easy moments, but the kind built from consistency, the kind that stays steady even in storms, then her spirit lifts. Respect is a language she has always understood, even when life tried to silence her voice. Respect is the key that unlocks the doors of trust she had bolted shut after disappointments, after betrayals whispered behind her back, after nights she held herself because no one else held her. Respect tells her that she is not invisible. Respect tells her that her words, her dreams, her fears, her visions, her scars, her laughter, every piece of her, is worthy of being held gently. And when she meets care, true care, not the shallow gestures made for appearance, but the quiet devotion shown when no one is watching, something inside her settles. True care is a balm on wounds she never spoke about. It is the soothing warmth on the places she hid from the world. It is the light that fills the corners of her being where fear once lived. Care is the reminder that she is seen not for what she does for others, but for who she is at her core. It is the steady presence that shows up when the world becomes too heavy. It is the hand that reaches for her not to control her, but to steady her. It is the voice that says, "I am here, and you do not have to walk alone." A woman does not love deeply because she is fragile. She loves deeply because she carries the wisdom of countless generations. She loves deeply because she has walked through fire and learned how to dance in the ashes. She loves deeply because her heart refuses to become cold, even when the world gives her every reason to freeze. When she feels cherished, something extraordinary happens. She begins to rise beyond her fears. She begins to shed the weight she carried for years. She begins to breathe differently, dream differently, hope differently. She begins to trust that the softness inside her is not a weakness, but a power. When she is met with gentleness, the tightness in her chest loosens. When she is met with patience, the walls she built begin to soften. When she is met with sincerity, her doubts begin to dissolve. She forgets the sorrows that once sat heavily on her shoulders. Not because she is naive, but because love has a way of healing places the world tried to break. Love, when given with respect and care, becomes a shelter from the storm she thought she had to face alone. It becomes a refuge, where she can lay down her armor without fear of attack. It becomes the place where she learns that vulnerability can be safe. And when such love enters her life, she does not simply feel it, she reflects it. Her heart glows. Her laughter returns. Her eyes shine with a joy that cannot be hidden. She becomes a giver of light because someone finally honored the light within her. She becomes stronger, softer, more hopeful, and more grounded. She becomes rooted in the soil of devotion, yet free enough to stretch toward the sky. There are women who have carried silent sorrows. They have held the weight of unspoken pain in their bones. They have wiped their tears alone, behind closed doors, whispering prayers into the night. They have stood on trembling legs, pretending strength because no one cared enough to ask why their spirits seemed tired. But even in their quiet suffering, they kept a spark alive within them, a spark that waits for kindness to ignite it into flame. And when kindness finally arrives, everything changes. She begins to release the memories that chained her. She begins to breathe in the possibility of new beginnings. She begins to let herself be loved the way she always deserved. Her sorrows do not vanish from existence, they simply lose their power. They become shadows where sunlight now reaches. They become lessons instead of burdens. They become whispers instead of storms. A woman who is truly loved becomes a woman transformed. She becomes filled with gratitude not because she is indebted, but because she recognizes that life has granted her something many only dream of, a love that does not harm, does not diminish, does not demand that she shrink to be accepted. A love that honors her mind, cherishes her soul, and protects her peace. In that love she finds herself anew. She discovers that she is worthy of gentleness, worthy of patience, worthy of admiration, worthy of devotion. She sees in front of her not perfection, but a presence that chooses her every day. And because she feels valued, she gives her heart in return. She does not give halfway. She does not give timidly. She gives with a depth that only women who have tasted sorrow and survived it can offer. She gives with a devotion that can heal, uplift, and transform. She gives with loyalty that remains steady even when the world grows unpredictable. Her love is not fragile, it is mighty. Her love is not passive, it is active. Her love is not blind, it is filled with wisdom. She pours herself into the bond with a grace that is unmatched. She cherishes the connection because it mirrors the truth she has carried all her life. Love is sacred. Love is a responsibility. Love is an honor. When someone cherishes her, she sees them as a pillar in her world. Not because she is needy, but because appreciation carves deep roots. Because loyalty grows from the soil of respect. Because faith blooms where care is constant. She begins to see the beauty in the everyday moments. She begins to appreciate the little things. The smile that greets her in the morning. The reassurance that steadies her when she doubts. The small acts of kindness that say more than grand gestures ever could. She sees the strength in simplicity. She sees the blessing in sincerity. She sees the miracle in being treated with dignity. She forgets the darkness that once lingered around her spirit, not because the past didn't happen, but because she no longer carries it alone. She forgets the loneliness that once echoed in her nights. She forgets the heaviness that once sat in her chest. She forgets the fear that used to whisper that she was too much or not enough. Instead, she learns how to rest. She learns how to breathe. She learns how to trust that this new warmth in her life is real. Her heart becomes a sanctuary, not a battlefield. Her mind becomes filled with hope, not dread. Her soul becomes lifted, not weighed down. She stands tall because love has reminded her of her worth. She glows because she has been touched by kindness. She becomes radiant because she has learned that she is deserving of all the goodness that comes her way. And when she looks toward the one who consistently cherishes her, respects her, and cares for her, she sees not just a companion, she sees a source of peace. She sees a guidepost in moments of uncertainty. She sees someone who reflects back to her the beauty she sometimes forgets she carries. She sees a presence so meaningful that it illuminates her life in ways she never imagined possible. She sees not just what they are, but what they bring out of her. Strength, joy, softness, trust, healing, hope. She sees the power of love that is gentle enough to soothe her wounds, yet strong enough to build a future. She sees everything that makes her heart expand, everything that makes her spirit breathe freely, everything that makes her feel cherished in a world that often forgets the value of tenderness. And in that recognition, her devotion runs deep. Her loyalty becomes unshakable. Her faith becomes unwavering. For when a woman is respected, she becomes confident. When she is cared for, she becomes peaceful. When she is cherished, she becomes radiant. And when she is loved deeply, she loves with a power that transforms the world around her. Love for her is not simply an emotion, it is an awakening, it is a rebirth. It is the soft reminder that even after the hardest seasons, the heart can bloom again. And when she loves with all the depth, strength, and grace her soul can hold. True respect awakens a woman's deepest confidence. It is not the fleeting respect offered in passing, the kind that comes and goes like the wind, but the steady, unwavering recognition of her worth, her thoughts, her dreams, and her spirit. When she encounters respect that is steadfast, that does not falter with her mistakes or dim with the shadows of her past, a remarkable transformation begins within her. Respect has a way of touching places within her that she thought were permanently closed, rooms she believed locked forever, and corners of her soul she had forgotten were even there. It is the kind of respect that whispers, even in silence, that she is seen, that she matters, that her voice, her presence, her life is meaningful. She has known a world where respect was conditional, where her opinions were dismissed, where her feelings were brushed aside as trivial. She has walked among those who sought to diminish her, to question her value, to make her doubt her right to occupy space. And so when she experiences true respect, it is not simply pleasant, it is revolutionary. It shakes the foundations of her inner being. It challenges the narrative she has carried about herself for years. It tells her, without needing to say a single word, that she has always been enough, that she has always deserved acknowledgement and reverence. Respect does not simply inflate her ego. It does not decorate her with hollow praise or temporary flattery. True respect seeps deeper into the quiet places where insecurities linger, where fears have nested, where hesitation once ruled. It asks nothing of her but to be herself. It does not demand she change to fit someone else's idea of perfection. It does not attempt to mold her into someone she is not. Instead, it allows her to breathe freely, to stand tall in her own skin, to speak boldly and live authentically. When respect greets her, she finds the courage to shed the masks she has worn so long. When a woman is respected, she begins to reclaim the space she thought was denied to her. She walks with a new posture, a subtle but unmistakable alignment of body and soul. She carries herself with dignity, not because she has learned to mask her insecurities, but because she now recognizes her own strength, her own voice, her own importance. She begins to trust the judgment of her own heart and mind, to honor her intuition, and to cherish her boundaries. Respect teaches her that her feelings are valid, that her dreams are worthy of pursuit, and that her existence is not negotiable. In a world that often tries to belittle or ignore women, respect becomes a sanctuary. It is the mirror in which she sees herself reflected with clarity and grace. It is the hand that steadies her when doubt threatens to topple her. It is the gentle force that tells her it is safe to aspire, safe to desire, safe to claim her place in life unapologetically. It allows her to recognize her worth not as a gift granted by others, but as a truth she carries inherently, a truth that has always existed even when it was unacknowledged. True respect also awakens her voice. She begins to speak with conviction, to share her thoughts without hesitation, to engage with the world in ways she once feared. The respect she receives becomes a foundation on which she builds her confidence, enabling her to take risks, to pursue her passions, and to express herself fully. She discovers that her words have power, that her ideas can influence, that her presence can make a difference. Respect nurtures her ability to stand firm, to articulate her needs, and to hold her ground without fear or apology. It opens her heart to new experiences, to deeper connections, and to the vulnerability that is essential to meaningful relationships. She is no longer wary of judgment, no longer constrained by the fear of rejection, because respect has shown her that she deserves to be embraced as she is. In this environment, she flourishes. She begins to take steps toward growth that once felt impossible. She sets higher standards for how she allows others to treat her. She refuses to tolerate belittlement, condescension, or disregard. She learns to demand acknowledgement, not arrogance, and to expect dignity, not empty words. Respect awakens not only confidence but also creativity, courage, and the willingness to explore the world with openness. It reminds her that her contributions matter, that her presence is valuable, and that she has the right to pursue her ambitions fully. It is a call to action, a reminder that she has always had agency over her life, that she has always had the ability to shape her destiny. Respect is not passive, it is empowering. It ignites a spark within her that cannot be extinguished by criticism or neglect. It encourages her to trust herself, to honor her intuition, and to act with integrity. With respect, she no longer fears mistakes, because she understands that errors are not proof of inadequacy but opportunities for learning. She begins to approach challenges with a sense of self-assurance, knowing that her value is not contingent upon perfection. She is emboldened to pursue ambitions that once seemed out of reach, to advocate for herself when necessary, and to embrace her individuality without hesitation. The confidence that arises from being respected transforms every aspect of her life, influencing the way she works, the way she loves, and the way she interacts with the world. A woman awakened by respect learns to extend respect to herself as well. She begins to recognize the importance of self-care, of setting boundaries, of honoring her time, energy, and emotions. She refuses to settle for less than she deserves. She understands that respect is not something to be earned through compromise or submission, but something that is inherent and non-negotiable. This self-respect strengthens her resilience, allowing her to navigate the complexities of life with grace and poise. The confidence that blooms within her is not superficial. It is deep-rooted in the recognition of her own worth and the acknowledgement of her dignity. She no longer measures herself by others' standards or seeks validation from outside sources. She moves through life with a quiet strength, a calm assurance, and an unshakable belief in her own value. This confidence empowers her to embrace opportunities, to take initiative, and to inspire those around her. It allows her to create spaces where others are encouraged, uplifted, and respected as well. When respect awakens a woman's deepest confidence, it becomes a force that ripples outward, touching everyone she encounters. She inspires by example, demonstrating the power of dignity, integrity, and self-assurance. She fosters environments where honesty, trust, and collaboration thrive. She transforms the lives of those who witness her strength, proving that when a woman is truly respected, her potential knows no bounds. She becomes fearless in the pursuit of her dreams, resilient in the face of adversity, and unwavering in her commitment to herself. She navigates challenges with clarity and purpose, guided by the confidence that respect has nurtured within her. Her relationships deepen, her work flourishes, and her presence becomes a beacon for others seeking empowerment. Every choice she makes reflects the understanding that she is worthy, capable, and deserving of the best life has to offer. Her confidence is not loud or boastful. It is quiet, grounded, and radiant. It emanates from her every action, her every word, and her every thought. It is the kind of confidence that does not seek approval but recognizes its own truth. It is the kind of confidence that does not need validation but inspires admiration. It is the kind of confidence that allows her to rise above negativity, to embrace her unique gifts, and to live authentically and courageously. Through respect, a woman discovers that she has always held power within herself. She realizes that her voice, her mind, her heart, and her soul have always mattered. She understands that she is capable of achieving greatness, of loving deeply, of leading with wisdom, and of living with purpose. Respect does not simply affirm her, it awakens a recognition of her inherent strength, her limitless potential, and her capacity to transform both her own life and the lives of those around her. Love given with dignity transforms her entire spirit. It is not love measured in shallow gestures, in fleeting words, in the hurried moments of obligation, but love that honors her very being. Love that sees her as whole, not broken. Love that acknowledges the weight she has carried, the battles she has fought, the nights she has spent whispering to the stars for guidance. When love arrives wrapped in dignity, it does not demand she shrink or change. It does not ask her to silence her voice or dim her light. It sees every facet of her and bows in acknowledgement, and in that bowing, something awakens within her. A woman who encounters love like this begins to shift from within. She feels a freedom that she has not known before, a freedom that dissolves the chains of self-doubt and replaces them with wings of possibility. She learns that her worth is not contingent on anyone else's perception of her, that her heart is not a bargaining chip to be tested, measured, or discarded. Love with dignity whispers to her soul that she is enough, has always been enough, and will always remain enough. It tells her that the essence of her being, parts others may overlook or fail to understand, is sacred and deserving of reverence. When she feels this kind of love, the walls she built to protect herself from pain begin to soften. She no longer feels the need to armor her heart with fear or suspicion. The shields she once carried, heavy and burdensome, slowly fall away, replaced by a calm assurance that she is seen, appreciated, and cherished. Love with dignity reassures her that vulnerability is not weakness, but a courageous expression of her humanity. It teaches her that opening herself to another does not mean surrendering control, but rather embracing the fullness of her existence without apology. Such love transforms her view of the world. She begins to notice the beauty in ordinary moments, the blessings hidden in small gestures, the quiet joy that emerges when someone honors her without conditions. She becomes attuned to subtleties she may have once overlooked, the softness in a word spoken sincerely, the patience that does not rush her, the consistency that proves care over time. She begins to recognize that life itself can be infused with grace, and that every interaction has the potential to uplift or diminish, to nurture or wound, to build or destroy. Love with dignity teaches her discernment, the wisdom to embrace what nourishes her spirit, and to release what diminishes it. Her confidence flourishes under this love. She begins to trust not only in the intentions of others, but in her own instincts, her own judgment, her own capacity to navigate life. She discovers the courage to pursue her dreams without hesitation, to assert her boundaries without guilt, and to hold herself with unwavering respect. The dignity with which she is treated becomes a mirror, reflecting back the strength and value she has always possessed, but may have doubted. She realizes that she does not need to seek validation externally, because the love she receives confirms the truth she carries within herself. With love wrapped in dignity, her spirit rises beyond past wounds. The disappointments, betrayals, and losses that once weighed heavily upon her begin to lose their hold. They do not vanish entirely, for memory is resilient, but they no longer define her. She learns that love can exist without diminishment, without condition, without compromise of her essence. She begins to see that the human heart is resilient, capable of opening again even after it has been broken, capable of flourishing when treated with care, respect, and honor. This transformation seeps into every corner of her life. Her relationships deepen and flourish, not just in romance but in friendship, family, and community. She engages with the world from a place of strength and compassion, extending the dignity she receives to others around her. She becomes a source of encouragement, a mirror reflecting possibilities, a beacon that illuminates what it means to treat oneself and others with reverence. Love with dignity is not possessive, it is expansive. It multiplies, reaching far beyond the immediate heart it touches. She begins to embrace her imperfections with grace. She no longer sees flaws as failures but as parts of her story, markers of resilience, badges of experience that shape her uniqueness. She understands that dignity in love is not about perfection, but about acceptance. Acceptance of herself, of another, and of the journey that life has led her on. It gives her the courage to pursue her passions, to speak boldly, and to live authentically, knowing that she deserves to be loved fully for all that she is. Her creativity blossoms under the care of dignified love. Ideas she may have suppressed for fear of judgment or inadequacy find expression. Dreams she once believed unattainable are pursued with renewed energy and purpose. The respect she experiences fuels her imagination, her drive, and her resilience. Love with dignity is fertile soil. It nourishes growth, fosters exploration, and encourages expansion beyond self-imposed limitations. She becomes emboldened to carve a life that honors her values, desires, and aspirations, confident that she is deserving of every success she achieves. With every act of respect, every word of consideration, every gesture of consistent care, her self-esteem strengthens. She learns that love is not a mirror for dependency, but a partnership in which each person's value is affirmed. She discovers the profound power of being treated as worthy and capable. This awakening ignites an inner fire, the kind that motivates her to take risks, challenge inequities, and pursue fulfillment with unshakable resolve. She is reminded that dignity is contagious. The way she is treated becomes the standard for how she treats herself and those around her. Love with dignity awakens her empathy as well. She begins to see the world through clearer eyes, recognizing that kindness, patience, and respect are not obligations but privileges she can both receive and extend. She becomes attuned to the struggles of others, understanding that everyone carries burdens unseen, and that love, when dignified, has the power to heal and uplift not just one heart, but many. Her capacity to forgive, to nurture, and to encourage grows because she has experienced love that does not diminish her essence. Her joy becomes profound, rooted in the knowledge that she is valued and honored. It is a joy that emanates from the deepest parts of her being, radiating outward in every action, every word, every gesture. It is the kind of joy that others cannot help but notice, a light that draws people toward her, not because she seeks attention, but because she embodies authenticity, strength, and grace. Love given with dignity transforms her entirely. It reaches into the quiet places of her soul, replacing doubt with confidence, fear with courage, and sorrow with hope. Through this love, she learns that her life is not merely a series of circumstances to endure, but a canvas upon which she can paint her aspirations, joys, and triumphs. She discovers that being treated with dignity allows her to flourish, to take risks, to embrace change, and to live with intention. She understands that love, when given with honor and respect, does not bind or confine but liberates and empowers. It becomes the foundation upon which she can build her dreams, her relationships, and her self-worth, the steady current that carries her forward through the tides of life. A cherished woman becomes a source of light for everyone around her. It is not a light that blazes with arrogance or demands attention, but a quiet, steady illumination that touches the hearts of those who cross her path. She radiates warmth because she has been seen valued, and honored for the fullness of her being. She is not defined by the darkness she has endured, nor by the trials that have tested her, but by the resilience and grace with which she has navigated her life. When she is cherished, the love and respect she receives awaken a profound strength within her that is felt by all who encounter her. A strength that shines without effort, a glow that cannot be dimmed by circumstance or challenge. She carries herself with a dignity that is unshakable. Her presence is felt not in the loudness of her voice, but in the assurance of her being, in the steadiness of her gaze, in the quiet confidence that she does not need to justify her existence to anyone. When a woman is truly cherished, she understands her worth in a way that cannot be taken from her. It is a recognition that has been forged in the fires of experience, tempered by adversity, and strengthened by the consistent acknowledgement of her value. In being cherished, she learns that love is not merely a fleeting sentiment, but a sustaining force, a steady hand guiding her toward her fullest self. Her light begins in her own heart, a radiance born of self-acceptance and the knowledge that she is deserving of care and attention. She has walked through storms that threatened to extinguish her spirit, yet she emerges with a resilience that inspires those around her. Each smile she offers carries the warmth of someone who has known sorrow and chosen hope. Each gesture of kindness is amplified by the depth of understanding that comes from having been nurtured, respected, and cherished. When she walks into a room, it is not simply her beauty or her presence that captivates, but the invisible glow of someone who has been honored and who, in turn, honors others. A woman who is cherished becomes a beacon, not only because of what she gives outwardly, but because of the transformation she experiences inwardly. She is filled with a sense of balance and harmony that enables her to engage with the world authentically. Her relationships deepen because she approaches others with empathy, patience, and generosity, qualities that have been nurtured by the recognition of her own worth. She becomes a mirror reflecting back the dignity and care she has received, teaching by example what it means to treat others with reverence and respect. Her interactions are infused with a sense of grace that is both comforting and inspiring. Her light is visible in her resilience. She does not collapse under pressure or retreat in the face of adversity because she knows deep within that she carries a foundation built on love and acknowledgement. She draws strength from the certainty that she is valued, and this strength allows her to navigate life with courage, purpose, and determination. In her presence, others find encouragement and reassurance, a reminder that strength and gentleness are not mutually exclusive, that compassion and resolve can coexist, and that one person's confidence can illuminate the path for many. When she is cherished, she begins to take up space unapologetically. She speaks her truth, expresses her needs, and pursues her goals without fear or hesitation. The acknowledgement she receives gives her permission to embrace her voice and her vision, and in doing so, She becomes a source of inspiration for others who may have doubted themselves. Her achievements, both great and small, are amplified by the awareness that she is worthy of success and celebration. She learns that to be cherished is to be empowered, and empowerment becomes contagious, spreading outward to touch the lives of those who witness her journey. Her light also manifests in her emotional presence. She becomes attentive, compassionate, and understanding, not because she is obligated to, but because she has been nurtured in a way that allows her to cultivate empathy. She listens with intention, responds with care, and engages with a depth that can only come from someone who knows the value of being seen and heard. In her presence, people feel acknowledged, their stories honored, their experiences validated. She radiates a warmth that offers comfort without intrusion, guidance without judgment, and encouragement without condescension. Being cherished fosters a sense of inner peace that is palpable. She is no longer defined by the fears and insecurities that once haunted her. Instead, she carries herself with serenity, a calm confidence that reassures those around her. Her light is not dimmed by the chaos of life because it originates from a place of steadfast support and recognition. She becomes a stabilizing force, a presence that others can lean on when uncertainty or struggle arises. Her calm demeanor and unwavering integrity make her someone people naturally turn to for guidance, solace, and affirmation. Her light is also creative and generative. She approaches the world with curiosity and a desire to contribute, to uplift, and to enhance the lives of those around her. She does not withhold her talents or her gifts out of fear or insecurity. She shares them freely, confident in the knowledge that they have value and meaning. In being cherished, she understands that her potential is not limited by past failures or external opinions. She creates, innovates, and inspires, illuminating the possibilities for herself and for others. Her influence grows quietly but powerfully, touching hearts and minds in ways both seen and unseen. A cherished woman transforms spaces, not with force or demand, but with the effortless radiance that emerges from recognition, respect, and care. She brings life to conversations, warmth to gatherings, and a sense of hope to those who feel unseen. Her presence encourages honesty, fosters trust, and cultivates collaboration. Others are drawn to her because she embodies the principles of dignity, self-respect, and integrity. Her light is contagious, creating ripples that extend far beyond her immediate circle, influencing communities, relationships, and even generations in subtle but profound ways. In her light, others learn the value of cherishing one another. They see that recognition, respect, and kindness are not merely acts of courtesy, but forces capable of transformation. They witness how consistent love and affirmation can nurture strength, confidence, and resilience. A cherished woman teaches by example, showing that the treatment of others matters, that dignity should never be compromised, and that each person has the capacity to inspire and uplift through simple acknowledgement and care. Her light is a reminder of the sacredness of human connection, the importance of honoring one another's worth, and the profound impact that consistent respect can have on the human spirit. She embodies the idea that when one is cherished, the effects extend far beyond the individual, influencing relationships, communities, and the world at large. Her presence becomes a source of hope, a demonstration that love and acknowledgement are not just gifts to receive, but responsibilities to embody and share.